Real Property Tax Committee meeting to order, and ask for a motion approving the minutes last meeting. Motion by Supervisor Dickinson, second by Supervisor Molino. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. Okay, first item is request to approve the list of chargebacks and refunds attached. Have a motion to get it on the floor. By Supervisor Dickinson, second by Devitt. Discussion.
The first one was just an error in a water re-levy. The wrong amount was re-levied on, wrong amount was given to us from the town. Second two, were in Warrensburg School District, and the collector for the school district made an error in the collection. She collected for one person but applied it to another parcel.
Oh.
So that's why those two adjustments were there.
Okay. So call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. A4 is referral pending items, Hague parcel 25.4-1-22, Warrensburg parcel 211.17-2-42.2.
These were parcels we were talking about last month when I brought forth to the committee the parcels that were left over from the auction. And these were the two little pieces of parcels that there really wasn't much to. And there was discussion on what to do with them and the neighboring property owners. And I believe Paul was in agreement of contacting the neighbors. So I did contact the neighbors. I sent letters out. I have not heard back from the individual on the Warrensburg parcel, but I have heard from the people on the Hague parcel, and they would be interested in moving forward with that if the county chooses to do so, to transfer the property to them. So,
What were the financial?
what was that, I'm sorry?
What are the financial implications of these transfers?
Well, remember the discussion last month was to talk to the county clerk in regards to waiving the filing fees on the county end for those, which would come to $55. And then there would be state filing fees that the county was looking to absorb the state filing fees, which would be $255. And the reason in doing so was to transfer this to these individuals and get it back on the tax roll. Because as of right now, it's just sitting out there in the county's name. And then the exemption that is on there right now, which is an exemption because of the tax sale, that only lasts for 3 years, I believe. So it will be expiring soon, and then it would be creating a tax again to the county.
So you want a motion to do that?
Well, that's what we discussed last month.
But it would only be for the warrant, it would only be for the
At this time, just for the Hague
parcel. So let's make sure we understand, it's only for the Hague parcel, so we should identify that parcel in the motion. And the county is going to be incurring a $255 filing fee that we're not going to get back. The idea is that this property has been owned by the county as a result of tax foreclosure, therefore off the tax rolls for how long, Lexi? And the reason why this is important is because I don't know that you want to establish a precedent here. I think you want to take each of these cases on an individual case-by-case basis. Otherwise, we might be flooded with these types of requests. So, how long has this been in county ownership?
There's outstanding taxes since 2010. So I believe it was at the 2012 auction is when we first tried to sell this.
Okay. So there have been unpaid taxes on this property for 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and we've owned this property since 2012 on or about, correct?
Correct.
Right. And what's the assessed value?
currently is $1,400 on this piece in Hague. And there is also outstanding taxes that we would have to, delete prior to going forward with this as well, which come to $391.98.
What's the physical situation of the parcel? It's a small strip between two parcels? I don't remember.
Piece that is in the town of Hague,
Yeah.
right along the road, there's a guardrail in
Oh,
front of
right,
it.
okay, that's fine.
And it's kinda like a ravine where the brook runs through. I
Yeah.
do still have a parcel here,
Mhm.
with the aerial photo I can pass around if you'd like to see it. It's just a small piece of land,
So
it's
is it-
.12 of an acre.
Assessment going to go up when they acquire it?
No, because there's options of ways to transfer it. We could leave it as an individual parcel, so the assessment would stay the same. The taxes on that right now are very minimal, what they would pay each year in taxes.
I think we should get rid of it. I don't think that's a significant amount, it'd be better off clearing title, and I think it should be absorbed with their parent lot, and not create a
And
situation where
that
they would
could be
come back
done.
some later date and say, hey, I've got 2 lots, I want 2 houses.
We could put
Yeah.
that right in the deed, to combine it with the other parcel, that it was actually originally part of the other parcel in an older.
I would
Right.
make a motion on Hague parcel 25.4-1-22. It's presently owned by the county and Warren. We haven't received taxes on the parcel since 2010. We've owned it since 2012. We've been unable to sell it. And so we have an opportunity to give it in title to the adjoining neighbor to be absorbed by their lot, and get it off the tax roll as a standalone lot.
Okay, do we have a second? Seconded by Supervisor Molino. Further discussion?
With that, like I said, we would need to delete the original taxes, the resolution, if you have a copy of that for Joan, if you guys wish to move forward with that. They're in the amount of $391.98.
Okay, so your resolution, Dennis, includes deleting the existing taxes and that we pay the filing fee,
Right.
Estate filing fees.
the state filing fees.
County filing fees have been waived.
Question,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman. So the adjoining owner is willing to have this merged into the current lot?
I believe they would.
We're saying that's how they're gonna accept the deed?
They would accept the deed. I have been in contact with them this past week, and they are willing to proceed forward with the conveyance.
And I think, it doesn't have to need to be part of the motion, but I think because it's gonna be a payout, I think this has to go to Finance Committee.
It will, I believe it has to, because we need to come up with
Just for your-
$255 recording fees for the state recording fees.
Okay, so it'd be waiving the back taxes, paying the state filing fees, referring to finance. Agreement, Dennis?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, further discussion? If none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, in the Warrensburg parcel, we just waiting to hear back from...
Yeah, we're waiting to hear back. I've tried to reach out, and I have left a phone message. I did get a phone number from, the town clerk, and I've tried to reach out that way. I did send a letter, actually, to both of these back on February 10th, but I have not heard back on the Warrensburg parcel as of yet.
Okay, so the next item is the RPTS budget code, New York State licensing fees.
This is another item that was discussed last month. I've included in the committee, packet the, information from the state, because at this time, what's billed out is kind of like a per parcel. I don't think the way that it's currently billed is equal or fair by any means. So, what we talked about was, splitting it, and so that the county paid half, and then each individual town would pay half of their fee that was being charged by the state. Last year, it didn't work out that way, because what we already had billed out, we only took in $6,000 from the towns, leaving the county with a $9,298 balance that we paid in the beginning of December. So if you look at your sheets, there's a column that says RPS New York State, fees. That's the total fee that they charge per town. Next to it is what I'm proposing, that the county pay half, and then the next column would be what the town would pay. And it is a change from the year before. But I think that it would be more reasonable that everybody pay half than the county absorb such a large amount. We added in the $2,000, this year in December when we paid the bill because of the split of the, consolidating assessing units. So that's
Looks
why.
like it's not that big a difference though, right? It's just
It's a
from,
$2,000 increase from last year, well, the year before, I
Yeah.
should say, because they bill it in December is when we received the bill. However, when this happened, they never made us aware that there was gonna be this increase. So if you look, there is a copy of the invoice, and in the center, it tells you how they charge their fees, on that fee schedule. It shows the number of parcels that are in your town, and then the fee that they would charge to you. But when it's a cap, it is, it puts you into a larger bracket, so it's a less of a fee.
What is this fee based on?
It's for the licensing fees for
Yeah, I
the
know what it's for,
RPS
but I
that we,
mean, like, Lake
per
George-
parcel.
Lake George is $650 and Durham is $600. So that's
Correct, but Lake George has
It's a
three.
number of parcels?
Right, but Lake
Oh,
George has 3,543 parcels. Thurman only has 1,194 parcels.
but it's not linear. I mean, it's not per parcel because
Right, and that's
Queensbury
why
was
they give
13,000.
you, if you look, they give you on the other sheet where the invoice is, there's a fee schedule.
Right.
0 to 500 parcels would be $750.
Yeah,
So in like Thurman's case, it's 1,194. They would pay that whether they had 1,001 parcels
or
up to
2,000.
2,000 parcels. They would pay that same fee, whereas Lake George, you would pay that fee whether you had 3,001 parcels up to
Mhm.
4,000. So, you're in the middle of it, but that's how the state comes up with their fee schedule.
But last year the towns paid 6,000, so this year it would only be 7,650.
It was, yes, correct.
$1,650 more.
Yeah.
Do we need a resolution?
Yes.
A resolution?
Okay, motion by Dennis, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. Any discussion?
I'll throw out, that's just a crazy way they do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the little
It's the
towns
government.
get stuck again.
Mhm.
Well, that's what, we're
Queensbury
small.
once again wins, huh?
Well-
Queensbury once again wins.
You can say that, but I can explain to you what was happening in the past when it was a per parcel. Queensbury in the past, the total bill for Queensbury was only like $1,975. I'm not sure the exact figure. But what was being billed out to them was much larger than half. They were paying $1,743.25 of their share. So it was much larger than half that they've been paying over the past few years. So this just makes it more equal or more fair, I guess you could say.
Yeah, in Luzerne, if you had 8 more parcels, yours would be 750 instead of
Right.
600.
Right, imagine that.
You want to be careful.
You know,
Well,
I
it's
know.
not time to think about it.
Don't create any more splits.
Don't do any more subdivisions.
Right. Okay, so, we call the question, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. 8.3, Mr. Beatty requested further discussion on developers foregoing taxes on parcels that no longer have a use to them.
Mr. Beatty's not here, but,
So let's skip over it.
Let's move on.
okay. So,
Well,
I can bring it back next month if you would like,
Well,
when
you'd be all
he's
bent out of
here.
shape, you wasn't here to defend yourself.
If you just wanna table it for the next meeting?
Yep.
Okay, 5 is information for discussion, review of Phase 2 plans for Clark, Patterson, Lee.
Actually, we probably ought to look at it and shoot it down.
Hmm.
Are we moving forward or not?
Yes.
We
Okay.
definitely-
Attached in the committee's, packet, I included copies of the, Phase 2 site assessments that were done. We had paid to just have the plans set up, and that's what these are. These are just the plans, to move forward with the, Phase 2 assessment. On the first sheet, you'll notice, I highlighted the preliminary assessment for you. My recommendation would really just be to move forward with just the preliminary assessment right now and wait to see what those results are before we decide to move forward with site characterization. It's a lot of money to move all at once, I think, so I would really prefer to just do the preliminary assessments and get those results and review them first before we move everything. This money is money that we put into that reserve fund, from proceeds from the auction, that the treasurer's office handles.
Okay. The description of this property was previously utilized as a dump, is that what we're saying?
The Town of Hague property, yes, it was.
Private or public?
It's private land, but I'm not sure who was dumping on it, if it was public dumping. Because I think the owner just kind of vacated the land and people were dumping there. I don't know that for a fact. I don't have proof of who was and who wasn't.
And I think the thought, Mr. Chairman, if I might, Lexi and I talked to Mike Swan about these 3 parcels and these 3 preliminary analyses, and I think the thought was to try to get as much information as we can. There are going to be test pits, they're going to be dug on each. Try to get as much information as we can, and then, once those reports are back, come back to you with whether or not it makes sense to go forward with the second phases, as set forth by the engineers. There is money available to do this. These are proceedings that were started a long time ago. So the thought was, again, this is just more investigation of these 3 parcels, and you should have a better snapshot, a better picture of what is in the ground with each of these when those 3 analyses are complete.
Yeah, yeah.
What's the cost for the, Phase 1 studies?
It's, for the preliminary is 10,800, and then for the site characterization, 16,000.
3 parcels?
No.
Yeah.
30,000.
Each one is slightly different.
What?
30,000
Total.
Total.
For all 3.
For all 3.
A little over 10,000 each. For a preliminary study?
Well,
This is where they're going to do the ground penetrating radar, the geoprobe sampling, any waste inventory, and then they will produce a preliminary report with, a site map as well.
How big are these sites?
Each one is different. Of course,
Are they acres, I guess?
well, the one is the little garage in Johnsburg, the old Mosher's garage. I don't know if you,
And that's, yeah,
and we did a W1.
I was gonna say, if you did the drive-by on that one,
Is
yeah.
that 10,000 too? That one?
I'm sorry, what?
Is it 10,000 for all 3?
Each one is
Each one.
different.
Each
The
one
one
is
in the
different,
town
but-
of Hague is $10,800. The one in the town of Johnsburg is $10,050, as well as the one in Queensbury is $10,050.
But you said they're gonna do some other stuff other than just reviewing.
Oh, yeah, 'cause this here was just kinda like the plan that was done to move forward with the
Okay.
Phase 2. What they're going to do, if we go ahead with this, is actually start the Phase 2 with the preliminary assessing, which would be the test pitting, the ground probing, and the sampling of the ground, any of the waste inventory, and then they'll come back with a preliminary report on that before we decide to move forward with characterization, or if we decide.
I got it.
Phase 1 is the
Yeah.
deed search.
I wonder how they decide whether they, like I see the Hague site is just test pitting,
Right.
And the others are ground penetrating radar, geoprobe sampling, waste inventory.
I think
How
they
they
decided
decide.
based upon the historical uses of the properties and what they thought was gonna be needed to get a good understanding of what's in front with
Mhm.
The Johnsburg site, if I'm not mistaken, is the dump site where they dump it over the bank. So it's surface.
Yeah,
Oh, that's the Hague
That's
side
the
of it.
Hague.
the Hague site,
Yep.
The other two site, one of them had a gas station on it, so you got underground tanks and
right,
possible
right.
water.
The other one is the Mullen property down here on Bay
Mhm.
Road in Queensbury.
Okay,
Remember, there's been a phase one study done already on these, which got to this, plan for phase
Right.
two.
right,
And so they have, you know, gone out and done the basic look of the property in plan
Mhm.
one, for phase one. So that's where they've come up with a lot of the information to move forward with this.
mhm.
So, refresh my feeble memory. Do we own these parcels, or are we doing this as?
We have taken under the ECL what's known as temporary incidents of ownership for the purposes of exploring the environmental conditions, and seeing what needs to be done in order to clean the properties up. And then we could, depending upon that, we could clean the properties up, very quickly acquire title, and then very quickly sell them. That's the idea behind that statute.
Right. And this is funded by proceeds of the auction, excess, a percentage of the excess proceeds.
Great. So, we need a resolution to proceed with phase two?
With the preliminary assessment on these three parcels.
We do, and I believe we do a resolution now to, go to finance to move the money from the
Well,
reserve
I think it'll have to go to finance, but I think the idea is to move forward with these three properties now, but ultimately, yes, it's gonna have to go to finance on the 10th or 11th. Right.
Okay,
That's my motion.
okay, motion made, seconded by Mr. Molino. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay, so we have privilege of the floor to discuss any additional items come before the committee. County attorney requests executive session. What's the purpose of executive
I wanted to
session?
discuss very briefly the Article 15 proceeding with respect to Cynthia Camarto and that property in the town of Warrensburg.
Okay, entertain a motion, Supervisor Molino and Supervisor Dickinson, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. So we're in executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, carried. No action taken, executive session. Okay, what do we have next? Motion to adjourn.
Great.
Made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye. Good job. Who's missing besides?
Downstairs.
Is that one T or two Ts?
I read about it in the paper.
The MOU.
You banned him from your communication?
No, I wouldn't know how to do that.
I wouldn't either.
What do you mean, getting?
And, so I think it's okay to just say the
Well,
committee.
You know?
Say the committee. He's gonna announce, he wants to do a press conference back for shared service.
I mean, what happened was you passed a resolution.
All the town, one bureaucracy.
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
I got processed.
So